Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Turin here with another Warhammer Total War online commentary. In this particular battle, I'll be playing the Warriors of Chaos, led by KHOLEK Suneater and his big old Chaos Giant buddy over here. So he's definitely ready to party. You can see he's already crackling with electricity and definitely going to drop the thunder. So it should be fun, guys. So as far as my army composition goes, and I should probably note before we get started, I am facing off against Clan Angren, who decided to bring the 3 Ethereal Lords. So always a fun time. Thankfully, I do have aspiring champions. But anyways, my army composition, I have Chaos Warriors here. So one group of Chaos Warriors. Let me get the tools up there real quick. So I have Chaos Warriors on the wings here. I have another group on the far side. And then in the middle, I have my weaker Chaos Marauders. So as you can see, I did have to bring a few groups of Chaos Marauders because I did bring some fairly expensive units. I have some Chaos Trolls, some Armor Trolls back here, and then I also do have a Chaos Giant back here as well. So I decided to put the Chaos Warriors with the Great Weapons, the more heavily armored, more elite unit with 100 armor and 83 leadership when buffed, compared to the 74 and 15 armor of these guys. I put them out in the wings because I personally feel that the wings are a very, very important area to protect. And if, for example, I had Chaos Marauders out here and they collapsed quickly, then the Dwarvish formation would be able to simply kind of sweep in and collapse the rest of my flank. So just for most reference, I like to have the elite units, or not even elite, but slightly stronger out in the wings. And if the middle collapses, it's not as bad because I do have the aspiring champions here, and as well as trolls and a Chaos Giant. So it's going to be a very sturdy middle line. So that is my reasoning there. So I have a secondary line of aspiring champs. Now against the dwarves, I've kind of developed my opinion a little bit recently. I usually only like to bring one against the traditional dwarves, or maybe two. And again, if you are doing a very marauder heavy build, it can be worth it to just fill out all 3 of your slots. But against Clan Angren, you really want to bring all 3, because if they do bring Ethereal Lords, you're definitely going to need that magic damage. If you guys take a look, these guys do have magic attacks. They actually do 46, hit pretty darn hard, and that magic damage is huge against the Ethereal units, who otherwise are very tough to kill. Behind them, I have 2 groups of Chaos Armored Trolls. These guys are pretty awesome. Very tough unit. They have regeneration. The one issue is their leadership, but when you have the aspiring champs nearby, because KHOLEK is a lord that you're usually going to be running around quite a bit. You're going to be doing laps, kind of flanking, harassing, chasing down units. You're not usually going to have him in the front line for very long. So again, having those aspiring champs really helps these Chaos Marauders to stay in the fight. So big fan of those guys. I also have a Chaos Giant here who is an absolute thug. He's got his big beat stick, 530 weapon strength. Definitely, doesn't look like he can see out of that eye, so definitely a tough situation, but he's going to do the best he can, guys. KHOLEK, Lord of the Storm, Lord of Fire for the Flaming Sword of Ruin, which is especially pertinent against Clan Angren, so very good there. And I think that's about it. I had some Chaos Warhounds. They're not the best against the dwarves, but just having a single mobile unit is just so valuable. If there's like a group of rangers or miners or dwarf warriors, longbeards, whatever, fleeing, these guys will make sure they don't come back. So very good unit, and they do have a poison, which is really good against like elite infantry. Just lowering their stats in general is pretty good, and do have one group of those. So as far as my opponent goes, he has the whole Clan Angren suit. So he has Halkanov Stonebeard, he's got King Lewin Ironhammer, he's got Throny Ironbrow, he's got a bunch of dwarf warriors in the front line with a Rune Lord, which is pretty solid. Rune Lord is very hard to deal with. Looks like he has all the different buffs. He has some miners back here. So again, he just has the shielded, more sturdy, higher melee defense units in the front. And in the back, he's got miners. He's got dwarf warriors with great weapons. He has the Grumbling Guard, so very smart there. These units are very strong. Pretty good against Chaos. He has dwarf warriors with great weapons there. Some more miners here. And then he also has the Goblobber. So this guy's pretty cool. It's actually not bad against Chaos Marauders and like low tier infantry in that respect. But again, probably would prefer a cannon against Chaos, but it's definitely fun, and got to give him props for bringing it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Should be a fun one. So my opponent has a pretty nice little turtle formation going on here. Very sturdy front line, because a lot of the initial shock that comes in is actually going to land on Throny and these kind of ethereal units. So it's a very good way to mitigate that initial shock by putting these units in the front, because they're going to take almost no damage. And I believe the ethereal damage reduction is, 80% or something, which is pretty serious. So thankfully for me, I do have this tree line here, so I'm able to march, and you can see the Goblobber is taking some shots, or it was, and it's not really making great contact. They just keep getting caught in the tree, so unfortunately for the goblins. You can see a few actually get through there, and it looks like he makes some okay contact. I think he hit the trolls. And the trolls actually have pretty bad leadership, so I believe the Goblobber does have a leadership hit, which is, relatively, pertinent against the Chaos Trolls, so pretty good there. So we'll go ahead and fast forward. A lot of advancing and fun and all that kind of stuff, so we're going to get going here. So you guys actually missed it, but I did get the Chaos Hounds in here and got a little jump. They were able to get a few of the dwarves, so I feel bad for those guys, but they did their best fighting off the hounds, and he did quickly pull the what's it called, the miners in to deal with that. So I also did get a Lord of the Storm here. God, I'm just missing everything right now. I'm sorry I'm failing you guys, but look at the damage that did. A single Lord of the Storm brought them down like 15 models and did about 40% of their HP in damage. So very, very well played. So the Marauders and the Trolls and all these units are going to come in here, and it's a pretty scary front line, but he does use the damage negation and those other abilities. So very, very well played there. But the Trolls, they're going to hit pretty hard, and they do kind of disrupt the formations by doing that splash damage. So pretty nice little effect there. So the Trolls are in there kind of saturated with low-tier infantry, which is what you want. You don't want the Trolls alone surrounded taking damage because their leadership does wane really, really quickly. So you want the Trolls in there kind of with Marauders and other troops like that. And you can see the Ethereal Lord's getting in there. He just gets trampled over by that Giant. So the Giant is going to get in there and pimp smack these guys. And you can see he takes a whole group of those guys. So very good. I also do position some Chaos Warriors out here on the flank. I was just kind of waiting, and I wanted to kind of run up here, and you can see they're going to path up and then collapse on the back of these guys. And they're going to make pretty short work of miners. And also up here on the top, some of these Chaos Warriors are going to engage these miners, but again, I was trying to path them around, but my opponent reacted before I did and got a pretty nice little engagement. But still, the Dwarf Warriors are going to get pretty much cut to pieces by Chaos Warriors, definitely a more elite infantry, but they'll do their best. And with the Rune Lord, it might not be as bad as you think. So KHOLEK's in here, and he's definitely laying the smackdown. It's crazy how fast things are happening in this game, but just look how hard he freaking hits. And that's with the Cascading Fire Cloak, so he gets that additional armor piercing. And that Rune Lord is just getting smacked around. This Giant is smacking him, like clubbing all his friends. KHOLEK just pushing through all of these defenders here. And very, very hard to stop these two units of the Dwarfs. You definitely need some like Rangers or Corlers or Missile Troops. And Missile Troops are great at taking down Giants. But again, you know, this particular meta, a lot of people are afraid to bring Missile Troops because of Manticore, so they're bringing, you know, more traditional infantry armies, which it's very tough to deal with Chaos Infantry as the Dwarfs, but it can be done. So these Hounds also got a nice little flank. They were being chased by some miners. You can see they're swinging their picks all angrily over there, but the Hounds got a nice little flank here. They did shake them because they are being attacked on the rear, and also are fighting very elite infantry, so very, very tough. And here's another Lord of the Storm, so I finally get to show you guys one. Look at the massive damage that did. It is absurdly powerful, and definitely KHOLEK is a hidden gem there. And he just goes right through these troops, does not care. He just gets right on that Rune Lord. And that's another thing that's great about KHOLEK. He can just seriously run through formations. And if you're having trouble like pathing them through a formation, just like target something behind them, and sometimes that helps the AI. He'll just like run through them. So for example, if I wanted to escape here, you know, I might target these Goblobbers up here or something like that. But the Rune Lord is trying to run. He's having a pretty bad time. KHOLEK's getting in there, smacking him down. KHOLEK also hitting a few of his own buddies. Looks like this guy laid there for quite some time, but he's up now. With the Flaming Sword of Ruin, if we take a look, he does have 664 weapon strength. Now, I know the Dwarves do have an inherent magic resistance, so it's not quite as much, but it's still, well, like, it's so darn hard. And again, using the Flaming Sword of Ruin is essential against Clan Anger because it allows you to essentially kill those Ethereal Lords, which usually take about 45 minutes to kill. So the Chaos Warriors were able to collapse the flanks. The Giant is doing a pretty decent job, but it is fighting the Grumbling Guard and some Dwarf Warriors, so its health is getting pretty low. Giants have pretty amazing leadership, but these Ethereal Lords, Halkenhoff and King Blue and Ironhammer, are doing a really good job laying the smackdown on them. They hit pretty hard. They have, I believe, 400 plus weapon strength, so the Giant probably isn't long for this earth, but it's doing pretty darn good. Over here on the top flank, it looks like some miners are getting flanked by some Hounds, but actually it looks like the Hounds just decided to run as soon as that started. But thankfully, as you guys can see, KHOLEK was able to finish off the Rune Lord, so a lot of the Dwarf forces here are going to start to slowly collapse. The Grumbling Guard have great leadership, but they only have 25 models. And getting KHOLEK and these scary freaking trolls, and you can see I actually just kind of ignored this for a lot of the battle. I felt like it wasn't doing much, but I probably should have killed it earlier, but it actually is laying the smackdown on my Giant. That's probably what it was, killing my Giant this whole time. So definitely a misplay on my part, but I was more focused on that Rune Lord. But the Giant, he decides to come back in. I think I just marched him out to get him out of the focus fire of Throny and those guys, and you can see the Goblobber just missing horribly. That was a pretty good contact there. So a lot of the Chaos Warriors on the upper flanks have chased off the miners and low-tier troops. And, you know, that's the one problem with the Ethereal Lords is they're so darn expensive. They're like 1,300 a piece or something like that. So if you bring them and they're not just like, you know, really winning you the battle, and especially against Chaos, who has a lot of like magic utility now with Aspiring Champions, I don't think they're a good pick. It's just I mean, again, they're funny, and sometimes you can pull out atrocious wins in this particular situation, you know, but still, it's so much. Like, if you just bring like regular Thanes, that opens up what, like 400 or 500 comparatively, and really just bolsters your army, because he just didn't have that much, you know, that many infantry. It was a very, very light army, and thankfully, at the very least, at least they were able to get that Giant. I always love when the freaking Giant falls and like crushes units nearby. But at this point, guys, we're just going to fast forward because for the most part, it's just one of those King Luin, Ethereal Lord beatdowns. So essentially, I just got him surrounded. I'm using Flaming Sword of Ruin. So I guess I'll just take this time to the contest, guys. It will be coming out soon, very, very soon, in the next day or two, probably by Wednesday or Thursday at the latest. So essentially what it's going to be, I'll give you guys a little spoiler. Granted, I will put out a video just explaining it is it's going to be a thumbnail contest. So you guys have seen on my channel, I have a lot of thumbnails, fun stuff like that. Hopefully you guys enjoy those, but I definitely like making them. But I will give you guys an email address. You guys will submit your very own thumbnails, and at that point, I'll gather all of them, put them up on a video, and you guys will vote. So the community is going to vote on the best thumbnail, and whoever wins is going to get a copy of the Wood Elves DLC on me. So I'll buy it for you if you win, and maybe if you guys are okay with it, I will use the thumbnails in my videos. So should be a fun time for all. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that Chaos battle. Always a good time using KHOLEK and trolls and giants and all that kind of fun stuff. And my apologies, I've lost my voice a little bit, getting over a bit of a cold. So always a fun time. But you can see these guys did okay. The Chaos Warriors are just so good against Dwarves, especially if you have the Flaming Sword of Ruin and the Cascading Fire Cloak to augment their defensive capabilities and also give them armor piercing. They're such a good unit against the Dwarves. The Trolls kind of underperformed a little bit as far as just pure kills, but they had pretty good work, and they're still in good health. And also something about Trolls is they're very mobile. So, they can almost work as like Cav in a way. They have 54 run speed. So in some circumstances, they're great at running through troops, flanking, pressuring, precious units like Iron Drakes, things like that. And the Giant did okay, but again, he was focused by a lot of my opponent's elite forces, including his Lord, so didn't generate as much value there. So you can see the Ethereal Lords did their thing, but these are so expensive, guys. Like, if you cut these, I'm a fan of them in some matchups, not against Chaos though. But bringing them, he could have had 3 or 4, another row of units almost, and would have helped a lot for sure. But anyways, really well played to my opponent, Albert Jace. I look forward to seeing you again on ladder, and I hope you guys enjoyed that Chaos cast. Have an excellent night and take care.